Hello, I'm so happy that you're here and joining me today. I'm Gina Tabrizi, licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm providing these videos as an education, as a public service, and for you to find some guidance. They're subjects of daily issues, mental health issues, addiction, trauma, codependency, and things of interest that might help you throughout your day or throughout your life, and maybe things that you're struggling with and you've been wanting to talk about or get some guidance on. So I have a topic today that's of interest to me for sure, and it's why do I care what you think? Now, when I make that statement, I have to smile because it makes it sound like so egotistical, like why do I care what you think because I'm so fabulous? Well, truth be told is why do I care what you think about me is really the end point to that sentence, because we all struggle with filtering ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and our behaviors based on other people's opinions about who we are. And oftentimes we're in relationships where we feel like we're constantly monitoring ourselves and filtering what we want to say, how we feel, because we don't want to offend the other person, because we're afraid that someone's going to leave us, which is really, really a common experience for most people. Doing things out of fear of abandonment. Why do I care what you think about me? Because I'm scared you're going to leave me. Many, many clients have said to me, if I really showed you who I was, if you saw who I really am inside, you wouldn't like me. Meaning that we have a dark side, or we have a wounded side, or a broken part of ourselves, emotions and feelings that aren't pleasant, that we don't want to share with other people. And we're really, really frightened that if they see that side of us, not the pretty, nice, kind, easygoing, even keel side that we show the world because that's the only side that's acceptable to them, well, guess what? You have to make peace with both of those sides. You have to believe and know and understand within yourself that you have a right to all of those thoughts, all of those feelings, all of those emotions. And our job is to find like-minded people and people that will accept us and believe in us and support us exactly where we are. Because truth be told, we're all human beings and we're all fractured and we're all broken and we all have different aspects of ourselves that aren't nice and pleasant and easygoing and perfect all of the time. And the reality is that's okay. That's part of being human. We're not expected to be perfect. Perfectionism is not the goal for mental health and wellness. If anything, it's an Achilles heel. It gets in the way of us being balanced and truly whole and truly in acceptance of ourselves. So I'm telling you, I want you to see that in yourself, to see that and note how many times throughout your day are you filtering what you really want to say because of fear of how it's going to be received or how people are going to perceive you or judge you. Now, that doesn't mean go around saying whatever you want, even if it's offensive to other people. We don't want to go to the other extreme where now you become this person that puts everybody off because you're being offensive, you're being rude, you're using profane language. I just had an interaction yesterday where I had to guide two people that were having conflict in a conversation where they had hit that point of disrespect where even though they were professional people, they had a minute where they lost it in their own emotional world and allowing those emotions to take over. They disrespected each other in their speech and in their language, and I had to intervene on that. And what I said to them was, and what I want to say to you is, you have a right to feel everything that you're feeling, but when your feelings hit a heightened point that you no longer feel you're in control of them or that you can manage them, that you can't speak to someone respectfully, you don't have the right to then cross that bridge and attack someone verbally and use profane, rude, disrespectful, judgmental, and belittling language, because that then puts you in the role of the perpetrator. You're now out of line with being a person who is healthy and well and is well balanced and is having a fruitful conversation that's going to be effective and is going to resolve the conflict that you're in. So in that case, you should really care what people think about you, because what they're going to think about you is that you're a rude and disrespectful person, and then they're going to put distance between you. And when we're communicating, even when we're angry, the truth is we're trying to connect. We're not trying to put somebody off. We're not trying to create distance, and we're not trying to create conflict. What's really happening is we're trying to be seen and heard. Oftentimes when we are not seen and not heard, and people don't listen to what we have to say, or they roll over our words, or they misinterpret what we're saying and twist it into some other thought in their mind that aligns with who they think we are, then we have the right to be upset about that, but also that will cause some of the anger. And as the anger escalates, then we find ourselves wanting to really get loud so that someone will see and understand what we're saying. So when people misperceive you, it causes a response in you to be angry. It's a self-defense mechanism. You're trying to protect yourself and your identity. Now, I just shared this with somebody else recently that had a very big emotional response to an interaction with me, was that their emotions are not their identity. Your emotions are an experience that you have in your life as a response to something that has occurred or to something that is occurring. If you have depression or you have anxiety or PTSD or you have a panic disorder, you are not having emotions necessarily to something that is occurring or has occurred. You're having emotions due to a chemical imbalance or a chemical reaction or response in the brain that is causing you to be triggered, as we like to say in our world of psychology. Even when nothing is going on, the person can be experiencing those very heightened emotions. So know that in those cases, that does require additional support, additional help, and sometimes it even requires medication management. So going back to how you speak to other people in your communication about who you are and how other people think about you, your job is to effectively communicate to people and let them know what it is that you need, what it is that you want, what it is that you're expecting. When you don't clearly communicate to people what your expectations are, then they invent them. If you never say, you know, when you did that yesterday, and when you do that at home, and when you don't hear me, when I mention what I need from you, and you ignore me, and you never communicate those thoughts to the other person, then they just assume you're fine. Oh, it's fine that I ignored her. It's fine that I didn't follow through with that commitment. It's fine that I didn't remember to take out, you know, the garbage or the dog or whatever your deal is. No, it's not fine. But if you don't tell people that things that they're doing and how they're interacting with you isn't working, then they're going to assume that everything's fine and they're going to keep going about their business. That is where you need to care about how you are coming off and communicating to other people. Now, they're going to invent you, they're going to respond to you in a way that you don't like, and if you don't ever tell them, they're just going to keep doing that. And you greatly care how these people think about you because usually they're your friends or your lovers or your spouses or your family members or your boss, your colleagues, whoever that is for you. So your job today is to start to think about, how am I communicating to people? How am I letting them know what I need and what I want? Do I tell people when I'm upset with them? And do I say it in a way that's loving and respectful? Have I been communicating to people out of anger or reaction or resentment versus out of honesty, genuineness, and authenticity? Because that's the goal for living balanced and well, is to truly be owning your authentic self. And your authentic self includes those dark emotions as much as it includes those light emotions. Like, that's not even a fair analogy to put it in those contexts, because all emotions are just emotions. So we shouldn't label one good or bad, right or wrong. So if I had to rephrase those, I would say emotions that are more difficult to process versus emotions that are easier to walk through, like joy and happiness, excitement. Nobody gets upset with you if you're sharing those things, right? But if you share these other deeper, more intense, more frightening emotions even, that's a place where people want to keep distance from you. Why do you care what other people think? As I said at the beginning of the video, it's absolutely about abandonment and fear of being judged, fear of being ridiculed, fear of being rejected. And if you come from an environment that as you grew up, you always felt rejected, you often felt abandoned, you often felt ignored, you often felt criticized or judged, then you're sitting in constant fear of other people doing the same thing. And you've grown up into your adult relationships carrying the fear of rejection and carrying the fear of abandonment. So then you greatly think what other people are thinking about you. You're very concerned about it. And so then you alter who you are. You alter your identity, your thoughts, your behaviors, your feelings, and your communication based on the fear that someone else is going to reject you. I want to invite you and give you that permission to have the freedom to let go of what other people think of you. Starting today, practice when someone says, well, I really don't appreciate that you did this or you showed up late or the way that you handled that particular situation. I want you to think for a moment, you know what? They're expressing a need or want of theirs. I don't have to personalize it. I don't have to take it in like I'm wrong or I'm bad. The problem with us is that when we put the value on someone else of what type of person we are, an acceptable or an unacceptable person, when we put that and give that power to somebody else, then we are going to feel ashamed when that person comes and makes a statement like, I don't like how you handled that. Maybe very simple comment like that. And then as the comments progress, if you're in relationships with people who tend to be a little bit more aggressive or critical, the comment might be, I don't like how you look. I don't like what you're wearing. I don't like how you talk. You really bother me when you're, playing with your hair or the way that you put away the dishes. I mean, you could find somebody that's more hypercritical, and then that fear of rejection is now huge because you're actually being rejected on a daily basis. So you need to look at how are you going to stay well, mentally well and balanced, find your joy, find your purpose in life, find love if you are sitting in relationships with people that only seem to want to take your inventory. This is where you've given your power away and believe that what you think about me is much more important than what I think about myself. And it is absolutely wrong. We are born in this world alone and we will go out alone. The ability to connect with other human beings and have them in our life is a blessing, it's a gift, and it's a desire that we all have. But truth be told, the one person you got to get right with is not anybody else but you. You are at the soul and the heart of your own healing. You are the master of this mind, this body, and this spirit. And you can decide for yourself today, I will no longer allow other people to hold the power to tell me who and what I am. I will reveal myself to them. I will express my emotions kindly, fairly, and effectively. I will express what I need and what I want, and I will stop allowing the fear of rejection to dominate how I'm interacting with you. So I hope that you took this to heart today, and I hope it was helpful for you, and that you know, if nothing else, if you heard nothing else that I said, is to remind yourself that you are the master of your own universe, your mind, your body, and your spirit, and you have the right to live your life without worrying or thinking about what other people think of you, but you have every right to get in touch with and to connect with what you think about yourself. So I invite you to do that today. I invite you to take inventory of relationships where you feel that you're not being respected, seen, or heard. I invite you to use your courage and your bravery to speak out today if you notice that you've been holding back and not telling people how you're truly feeling and what you're really thinking or needing. So I invite you to go on those journeys and to continue to do things like this, watch videos and podcasts and read books of inspiration, and continue to work on you because you're the most precious gift that you're ever going to get while you're walking on this planet. So I thank you for being here with me today. And again, it's Gina Tabrizi, and take care. I'll see you soon.